Hello. Good morning, Uganda. Good morning, boys and girls. Once again, my name is Edwin Twinomugisha, the science doctor. Welcome to this very beautiful topic. The lesson, which is still for integrated science about accidents and first aid. If you are new here, you simply need to alert all those friends you know to get close, and they sit before their TV set so that we just start this together and you easily interpret the facts connected to integrated science. Today we are handling primary 6. But of course, before we go deep into what we must cover today, I want us to start from what we learned in the previous lesson. In our lesson on Monday, we discussed about first aid kit and then first aid box. I was able to tell you that if you talked about the first aid kit, you then mean the set of items that are used when giving first aid. Then we furthermore said that if you are talking about a first aid box, you are talking about the container where the first aid tools are kept. I know you are getting ready. You simply need to have a pen. You need to have a book. If you can't, at least a piece of paper. And then you get ready so that whatever we are discussing today, you are able, to jot down some of the content so that you can easily refer to your notes when that time comes. I will always remind you that COVID-19 is still here, and therefore all we must do is protect ourselves from that danger. Have your mask on the moment you're moving, you're walking, you're in public, okay? And then make sure that you continue sanitizing. Don't get tired. Sanitize yourself, okay? Make sure that you wash your hands regularly every other time you touch the surfaces. And we believe even these other people who are carrying the virus, they can simply touch on some surface and they leave the virus there. Therefore, don't touch your mouth, don't touch your nose, don't touch your eyes, just in case you have touched the surface and you have not yet, washed them. Let's now get back to science and we look at the part of accidents and first aid. I know very many of my good friends are ready and they are really ready waiting for what we must handle today. But of course I promised you, today we are going to look at what we call burns, okay? Burns and scars. Burns and scars. We are going to handle the part of burns and scars. The moment you talk about burns and scars, then we go back to understanding that we must always be safe when we are handling any of the hot substances, maybe at home, maybe at work, or you can as well talk about at school. Okay? So, in the very first lesson about this topic, I told you that accidents are everywhere, and therefore accidents can occur anytime, anytime and in any place. Therefore, that is why we must whatsoever at all the time keep safe, and we mind so much about the objects we carry. Okay? Now, let's see. Check this. If you talk about burns, okay, the question can be, what is a burn? What is a burn? if this question was posed to you today, what response would you give? Okay? And by the way, we need to separate these. Sometimes we say a bun, and these people want to connect a bun with the duff nuts, donuts, and those cakes, then the buns. No, I'm talking about the buns in relation to accidents. Okay? And that's why you must pay some beautiful attention today, because I'm going to talk about you with your behavior at home and how those behaviors can turn into a danger if they are not regulated at some point. Okay? We are currently at home. There is no, you are no longer moving to school. Therefore, most of your time is spent at home. But then, if you talk about the burns and scalds, automatically they are inseparable with homes. Okay? Because this is where most of these burns and scalds occur. Now, let's look at this. A burn, someone would say that a burn, okay, a burn is an injury, okay, is an injury on the skin, is an injury on the skin caused by dry heat. My great friends from different parts of the country, from different schools, great schools in the country, you must be on watching today, and therefore we should be able to identify some of the commonly done mistakes. When you read, if I understand all of you can easily, exactly, I love that. I can see, my friend Babas has zoomed it very well, right? Now, when you look at my definition right here, you can easily tell that there is some word you don't always put in your definition, and sometimes we tend to mark it wrong. Therefore, it should be noted that if you are defining the word, a burn, then you should be able to say it is an injury on the skin, on the body. Okay? It should be very clear there. So it is an injury on the skin caused by dry heat. Can we quickly identify some of the substances that can cause burns at home? Let's look at the sources of that dry heat. Sources of dry heat. Okay? And this is something very important for us to identify, to understand, because it will give us the difference. This will clearly give us the difference between a burn and a scald. Okay? Now, let's look at this. If you said burns, and then you talked about dry heat, okay? You will talk about hot charcoal. Hot charcoal. This can as well be one of the sources of dry heat. Acid. You have had very many of these scenarios where a person has been maybe powered with acid. This person has, the body or the pieces of cloth have come into contact with acid. It's a burn, right? You can talk about, we have electricity. Electricity, okay? You have had many of people who have been struck by, by electricity, okay? And then maybe some of them end up dying, others survive. Of course, it depends on the nature of the first aiders in your locality, okay? Now, you can talk about an iron. Actually, let's add the word hot iron. Hot iron. Hot iron. Okay? This is what many of you usually call the flat. Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much. This is exactly what I wanted to get, because, yes. Thank you very much, my brother Andrew, in the control room. It is exactly what I wanted us to get. So here we can easily read And I'm going to give you an opportunity. I just wanted these slides to be put on the screen so that we reduce writing and we do more of reading and you people write from wherever you are. So let's quickly go through this, and you should be able to read and write this work very fast so that by the time we go into an activity, getting an activity, you are already there. Yes, this is what technology is doing, and that's why I'm an advocate of the new, ways of doing things. Now let's look at this. Burns and scars, they are definitely body injuries caused by heat. So from that very point, this heat can either be dry or it can be wet. I repeat, a burn is a skin injury, is an injury on the skin that is caused by dry heat. Okay? Now, when you talk about the sources of dry heat, we have the fire frames. Okay? Then we have got we have the glowing charcoal. This is the red one. The red one, it's very hot. We have, that we are talking about the hot charcoal, and those stoves, they are equally so hot. Talk about the acid cookers. You can talk about the hot pressing iron boxes. Okay? You can mention the heaters, and then those hot metals. So my good boys and girls watching, I believe you are there taking notes of what we are discussing today, and we have to run so fast and look at the causes of burns. Now, let's first understand this. When you talk about burns alone, you look at their causes, okay? And then these causes are connected to the sources of dry heat. I mean, when you look at these causes of burns, you will find the direct body contact with hot metals, direct body contact with the hot metals. Okay? Then there is when you overexpose, when you are exposed too much sunshine, those direct rays from the sun can as well, afford your skin. We have seen people whose skins are affected by too much rays from the sun. And that's why in science and SST, sometimes we talk about the causes of global warming. And in this case, we usually look at the violation of the ozone layer. I will leave this one for the teacher of SST, Teacher Ben, who will be here on Thursday. He will greatly discuss with you about this. Now let's go. We have got the direct contact with hot plates. How I wish I could pose this question back to you. Have you ever, lifted a very hot plate containing food with your bare hands? Then you can now share about the feeling. But I know in most cases the feeling is not as sweet as other people would imagine. Always tough because it is very hot. Then we have, of course, direct body contact with flat iron. I just love to call it an iron, right? That is according to the current correct English. It's called an iron. Okay? So you are maybe ironing your clothes at home, and all of a sudden this very hot iron passes on your skin. My friend, you wouldn't admire that because it's always very, very a tough moment, a tough time. Direct body contact with naked electric wires. That's why I talked about, electricity as one of the sources of dry heat. Electricity, when the two wires carrying current meet, and or else you just come into contact, you touch on them. Yes, I wouldn't wish to call it vibration, but what you feel, what happens to you, my dear, it is exactly what we call a burn. Therefore, that's why you should never play with fire, because fire burns, and indeed fire burns, okay? Contact with chemicals like acids, automatically, we are now merging the two. We are getting the part of sources, and we get sources, we connect them to the body, we come up with what we call the causes. So we have direct body contact with acids. Of course, we have mentioned that before. The skin coming into contact with fire, okay? For us who grew up from the areas where children are allowed to go into the kitchen and cook, like I did over the weekend deep down in Ubushenyi. I told my mom, I have to prepare you some meal. Okay? And then these hands that you push inside there, the moment they come into contact with fire, automatically you will tell your friends that fire indeed burns. Okay? Now let's quickly look at scalds. Yes, my brother Andrew, you will continue scrolling. Perfect, perfect. Thank you very, very, very much. Now, let's look at this. The scalds. A scald is an injury is an injury to the body caused by wet heat. Okay? Like I told you, if you talk about, burns and scalds, they are both caused by heat. But then what causes the difference is the kind of heat. Is it dry heat? If it is a dry heat, then that is a burn. If it is wet heat, then that one becomes a scald. Perfect. Okay? Therefore, let's look at some of the examples or sources of wet heat that we know. If I left this open to you, I know you would still tell me the right thing. Now, I am now imagining that each one of you has ever felt that hot steam from boiling water. Okay? Now, if you talk about hot steam, this steam must be coming from boiling water. It must be coming from any boiling substance. It can be actually boiling matoke. Okay? So if you cover using banana leaves or you cover using maybe a saucepan, and at the end of it all, you will definitely, in case you try to remove, okay, you will definitely feel what we call a scald, because if the body comes into contact with that kind of heat, it will be so heavy on your body. We have hot water. We have hot soup. It's repeated here. You just ignore one. We have hot milk. Okay? We have hot porridge. Many of you have, you do enjoy it like I do, but then it's very, very hot if it is poured onto your skin. Let's quickly imagine the two. We imagine the sources of wet heat with the body contact. Once the body comes into contact with any of those substances. Thank you very, very much, my brother. And the pictures are also very clear on the side. Therefore, we should be able to identify these when it comes to that. Now, let's look at this. Causes direct contact with the skin. Direct contact with the steam. I guess, anyway, I need to pause a little and I first alert you members that whatever we are discussing here, you should be able to jot them down. That's why my very golden man, Andrew, in the control room, is going slowly, so that you take time to write your notes down. We just want these notes clearly written so that tomorrow you have your point of reference. Let's continue, my boys and girls. By the way, when I say my boys and girls, I mean the Elijah, Edwin, Marina. If you know that you have ever given us a call live on air, then you are so significant an extent that I would wish to say yes, indeed. You are a reason as to why we are still standing before the cameras to present to the nation, because we believe that children of this country are benefiting and learning from this Tusome program on Star TV. Emunyenye Yegwanga. Let's connect back here. Causes of scalds: direct body contact with hot milk. It can as well be direct body contact with hot soup. It can be direct body contact with hot porridge. So any of these, once the body comes into contact with it, you are likely to get a scald. There is this one which is very common in our areas: direct body contact with hot cooking oil. The moment I mention it, if it has ever happened to you, you feel like I should close the chapter. But I'm very sorry, because this is what I must train you, so that you are smart enough not to allow such kind of stuff to occur to you, because we still need your skin as sweet as it is today. Let's go. What can be some of the first aid points under scalds? Definitely for burns and scalds, the one thing you must do is to make sure that you put the burnt part in cold, clean water. Cold, clean water. It is just the immediate first aid you can ever give someone who has who has got a burn or a scald. Okay? Why do we do that? We put this burnt part in cold, clean water so that we can reduce temperature, and in so doing, we are also reducing pain around the injured part. Take this note, that in case you receive the first burn, I will categorize these classes of burns, right? In case you get a first class burn, don't cover this point don't cover the injured part. No. Simply dip it in cold, clean water. I add the word clean because this water must be safe so that you don't survive a burn and you get an infection. Okay? And then you make sure that if it is an open burn, you don't cover your point where the burn has occurred. Okay? But then, if it is a scald or the third degree burn, we are going to get there. You should be able to cover the affected part with a clean cloth to protect the skin from infections. I think the point is now very clear. I remember recently I told you that when the part of the body is open and is left open for some good time, you are most likely to get an infection which ranges, of course, from tetanus to any other kind of infection you would talk about, as long as the point of your body is left exposed to germs. These germs, the bacteria, the fungus, the protozoa, including the virus, right? They are getting an opportunity to penetrate into your body, and you can easily get any disease or any infection, okay? Boys and girls watching our today's lesson, allow me to take you to the categories of burns, okay? One can be burnt by acid, another one can be burnt by hot charcoal, another one can be burnt maybe by hot iron. So we want to look at the differences. How do they differ? And actually their differences will give us the possible ways of managing such kind of situations. What must we not do? And what must we go in for, right? So let's look at this degree of burns. Okay? Burns and scars are described using the word degree to tell how minor or severe they are. Okay? So the word degree gives us an opportunity to determine how minor or severe this burn or scald is. And then these degrees are, we have the first degree burn in this category. And if you can view these images, okay? If you can view these images, I know what you would wish to say and feel, but just try to be strong. Try to be strong. I know what it means, most especially when you look at such kind of stuff. But and of course, I can't hide them away because I want you guys to identify the difference. Now, when you look at the first degree burn, you will see this person was simply burnt by something maybe hot and nothing was formed. There is no formation of blisters. Okay? Yes. Then if you look at the second degree burn, there are swellings. There are bruises. Bruises. We are going to define a blister. So some blisters are formed here. Those raised, are part of the skin with the liquid under them. So those are the blisters. And then, yes, thank you, Andrew. Then when you look at the third degree burn, now they are clear the scene, right? The third degree burn, well, I think it's covered. But then it is when heat will deeply burn your body, and then this whole skin is peeled off. Oh no, it shouldn't then happen to us. That's why by the end of this lesson, we should be able to learn how to manage these burns and scars at home. Okay? Yes, Andrew, let's get back to the notes and we read through and we see. Okay? Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Now, first, second, and third degree burns. We can now quickly look at what we call the first degree burn. These are minor burns which do not form blisters. Okay? The minor burns that do not form blisters. We are going to define the word blister. It's somewhere here. But at the moment, when we say they do not form blisters, it means that this is the form of burns which is a little bit minor. It is not as severe as the other ones that we are going to mention. Okay? Now, let's look at this. The first degree burns affect only the outer layer of the skin. As we go on in primary 7, we shall be able to identify the layers of the skin. We have two main layers of the skin, and the outer one is epidermis, and then the inner one is the dermis one. But then the epidermis layer has got 3 sub-layers. The outer layer, this one which is waterproof, you can as well touch on yourself like I'm doing, right? This one, if something peeled your smaller part of the skin, you would see something like a porcelain paper being, being pulled out of your body. You see? So that kind of a layer, which is on the outer part that prevents the evaporation of water and whatnot from the body, including preventing the invasion of germs into our bodies, is called the conified layer. Okay? It's called the conified layer. So in this case, if the conified layer is burnt, okay, in most cases it remains minor and no blisters are formed. Let's define it before. A blister is a raised part of the skin with a liquid inside it. I repeat, it is a raised part of the skin with a liquid inside it. This must have happened to you before. Water burns you, okay? Maybe any other hot substance burns you. And then the part of your body forms some swellings. Let me just try to be simple. Swellings, but these swellings on your body, they have got some water. They have some liquid substance inside them. It's very dangerous to open those blisters, and we are going to get there. Still, in the first degree burn, they cause pain, redness, and swelling. That is obvious. They are caused by by objects which are not very hot. In this case, these substances are not very hot. That's why blisters are not formed, right? And then they make the skin tender for several days. Sometimes, this part hardens. It does not remain the same for some good days. The skin is unbroken, right? Nothing opens up. That is when the minor burn has occurred to you. What can be the first aid for the first degree burn? You simply put the burnt area in cold, clean water immediately, so that at least you reduce pain and you manage the entire situation. If the injured part cannot be placed in cold water, then simply pour cold water around the injured area. We are basically managing pain. We want to reduce pain. We want to make sure that temperature is quite reduced, and therefore pain won't be too much, and this person will not overcry. Let's quickly look at the other point down here. Why do we have to put this very burnt area in cold, clean water? Okay? Simply to reduce temperature, and which reduces that very pain. Okay? Yeah, so I want us to understand this. That the blisters are not supposed to be opened. They are not supposed to be opened. Because if you open blisters, you definitely, welcome the invasion of germs. Your body is open, and therefore any kind of germ can enter your body. And that is why, just in case Okay, yeah, this is covered, Andrew. This is covered, yeah, thank you. Now, so in case you get an open or a severe burn, if you get a severe burn, then you make sure that you go on and cover the area. Because a severe burn takes off all your skin, it goes deeper. So this is where we are going, into the second degree burn. So these are burns which form blisters, okay? It means there is a lot of swellings, and then the body will form those small swellings, which are the raised parts with the liquid under them, okay? Yeah, thank you very much. At least this is exactly what I wanted to, yeah, I think it's clearly seen there, okay? Yeah, second degree burns affect both the outer and underlying layers of the skin. Okay? So, in the first phase, I told you that the skin has got on the part of epidermis, okay, which is the main outer layer of the skin. It has got the confined layer, which is the outer part. It has got the Malpighian layer, the layer that contains melanin. And you all know that melanin is the skin pigment that determines the color of a person. Okay? If the science doctor, for example, which color am I? Which color do I have? I don't know whether people could respond to that. But I think I may just say I'm chocolate. Okay? Okay, so if I'm chocolate, I don't know what my friend here behind the camera, Babas, is. But we are different, in other words. That's what I'm trying to bring. We are different, and what causes the difference in skin looks is simply the nature of melanin that we have in our skin. So it is in the Malpighian layer. And then we have the granular layer. The granular layer is the other lower layer of the entire epidermis, which contains very, very young cells. Okay? And in case the three layers are damaged under any kind of burn, automatically it's gonna last, it's gonna take some good time to heal. And number two, it needs proper care and management because it can easily welcome bacteria that can result into other infections, like I said in the beginning. Okay? Now, let's look at this. In this second degree burn, like we said, blisters are formed, and we have already defined the blister. So signs and, how can you identify that this is the second degree burn? We have blisters are formed. There is redness of the skin, unbroken blisters, and then it is very, very paramount that these blisters, like I said, should not be burst, should not be opened. In case they burst, okay, the affected part should be washed with clean water and soap, and then you cover it using a clean piece of cloth. You cover the area. You cover the affected part. We are simply doing this because we don't want to have the invasion of germs, like I said before. Okay? Yes, today I'm just making the doctors, the young doctors, and any doctor in making, you just don't wait first to go to campus. You start as early as this. Okay? Now, let's quickly look at why these blisters should never be opened. Okay? Yes, this can leave an open wound which can cause further infection by germs. I think I clearly explained that. Okay? A casualty with a second degree burn needs to be given plenty of fluids to replace the lost water. You must have seen one who has been burnt by any of these, and maybe the whole skin was peeled off. Okay? So in turn, this place, they keep washing it, cleaning it, but all the time it is wet. That's why the medics, they will try to make sure that the entire place is dried. They will work on the drying agents. They will be giving you those drying agents so that the place heals and seals off so fast. Okay? It's always wet. Therefore, in so doing, a lot of body fluids are lost. Okay? A lot of body fluids are lost. And that's why this person should be given plenty of drinks, plenty of fruits, of fruits, sorry. Okay? This can be juice, can be any other thing. You can mention them, including clean and safe water. So that's it. The first aid for the entire second degree burn, of course, it is basically dipping the burn part in cold clean water. If the blister is not broken, leave it to prevent infection of the wound. And actually, this blister should be left to open itself with time. And out of that, you will be managing it so that by the time it opens, you are able to clean the place and you continue, dressing it and covering it. So my good boys and girls, we have been able to identify, well, there is a very big common mistake that I must read before I leave, because I see time is real against us, and I must give you some activity. Let's look at this point, okay? Avoid putting things like fats, oils, because it can cause the burn. Those fats and oils, once there is any kind of radiation, there is any kind of, contact with heat, these fats you put on that point, they will attract heat and more heat will be brought to you. And that is why pain. Andrew, you can bring me back that point up there. Well, thank you. This one about to do not. Here. Thank you very much. Do not put sugar because it attracts flies. Okay? It attracts flies which can bring germs on the wound. I just want first to go funny. Where I grew up from, some of the things they used to put on the burnt part were so funny. When someone is burnt by something, then they say they bring kaudanga. Come on, where did you learn that science from? I'm not attacking you, my people from Bushenyi, but I'm just trying to be, why do people put kaudanga onto the burnt point of an injury, of the body, sorry. So in so doing, at the end of it all, the evasion of germ is automatic because kaudang itself, it contains much of them. Okay? Then, talk about sugar and salt. Well, people use them as the drying agents that when you put salt and sugar, that they will drain that fruits. But at the end of it all, we still need these fruits to keep in the body. So for us, as in science, we are looking at that in this angle. That the moment you put sugar, they will definitely, sugar will attract the flies. Will attract those good vectors, and you can mention them. And those are the vectors that we always carry these germs to the wound, and hence we can get another big danger of an infection. Fats, oil, coffee, herbs, drugs should never be put on the burn because they can cause an infection. And that's why if the burn is severe, for us first aiders, we distance ourselves and we opt to go for medics to go and meet health workers so that it is managed in a technical point of view. I believe I'm touching your inner person who is learning and conceptualizing the true and meaningful facts today. Sugar should never be put on the burn. And this is simply because it attracts, that is well mentioned. Third degree burn briefly. This is the most severe burn, where the skin is burnt deeply, leaving open wounds. And then it is the most severe burn, of course. So in this case, the burn goes deeper and almost all the layers are completely affected. And therefore, the skin usually appears shiny white, and this alone will make you lose a lot of roots, and that's why they must be replaced by drinking plenty of them. So you put the burnt part in cold clean water. That is one of the first aid points. Cover the part with a clean cloth. Encourage the casualty to drink plenty of fluids because a lot is being lost out of the body. And actually, even evaporation can occur at that point. The part that could protect the body from evaporation was also damaged in this case. Patients, note, patients of second and third degree burns should be given plenty of fluids. That's well mentioned, and it is just simply to replace the other one which is lost. Why one must never do burns, what one must never do with burns and scars is never apply cooking oil on them. Point taken. We don't need to over-explain here. Don't put cooking oil. It's going to attract those vectors, okay? Number 2, never apply sugar, as we have seen the reason. Do not apply salt as we have seen, this one, salt is actually more dangerous because for it can even cause dehydration. It will drain. It will absorb much fluids from the body. And if at the end of it all, this person is dehydrated. Okay? And then never apply or smear kaudanga. It's here at this point. Okay? You, my friend, people from that area, stop. Okay, I'm very sorry anyway. Stop smearing. Whoever has been doing this should never do it again because it can lead to infections. Never burst blisters as they leave an open wound that attracts germs. Finally, my boys and girls, we cannot go beyond that minus having a set of activities. Therefore, after going through that kind of summary about burns and scalds, my great friend here will connect us to this, and then we have a number of questions. Now, question number 1 is state, because I want to give you an opportunity to give us a call and interact with us. State the difference between a burn and a scald. Number 2, why is it not advisable? Why is it not advisable to apply, okay, to apply kaudanga, on the burnt area, Someone should be getting ready, okay? Mention the 3 classes of burns, okay? Of burns. Number 4, you can respond to.
Hello?
Yes, please, hello. Hello.
I'm from Blenga.
Yes, who is this from Blenga?
I'm answering number 1.
What is your name, my good friend?
My name is Alex.
Alex, yes, please, go on.
My name is Alex.
Yes, please, what question are you answering? Okay.
A burn is an injury
Yes.
caused by. A burn is an injury on the skin
Yes.
caused by dry heat,
Yes.
while a scald is an injury
Yes.
on the skin
Mm.
caused by
Yes.
wet heat.
Perfect. Thank you very much, my great.
Number 2.
Yes, number 2.
Why is it not advisable to apply powder on the back area?
Yes. Your response, my friend?
It powder
Mm. Mm.
has germs.
Kaudang has germs, eh? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my friend from Borenga. And we can get another caller. You try out any of these other questions. What is the first aid? You can give us a call. And for burns and scalds. Some other caller, if you are there, you still have an opportunity to speak to us, to give us your response, and then we see whether you have been following, okay? How is salt? How is salt dangerous?
Hello.
Yes, please.
My name is Kari.
Your name is who?
I'm answering number 3
Your name and from where are you calling?
from Bukasa.
From Bukasa. Yes, you're answering number 3.
First degree burn,
Yes.
second degree burn,
Yes.
third degree burn.
Wow. Thank you very much, my good friend from Bukasa. How is salt dangerous when poured on The burnt area. On the burnt area. Can I please get more callers and we discuss these simple questions?
Hello?
Yes, please. Hello.
I'm Jordan from Gayaza.
Jordan from Gayaza. Yes.
I'm answering number 1.
You are answering number 1. Go on, my brother.
State the difference between a barn and a cow.
Yes, please.
A barn is called... Sorry. A barn is an injury caused by birthing,
Yes.
while a cow is caused by an injury.
Okay. My great friend, and maybe for emphasis, you must include the word skin. You show us that it is an injury on the skin, or it is the skin injury, so that someone understands where a burn or a scald occur. Yes, please.
Hello?
Yes, please, my friend.
I'm answering number...
You're answering about what?
Hello?
Yes, please. What is your name and from where are you calling?
I'm Daniela from Mukono.
You're Danela from Mukono, right?
Yes.
Please go on, my friend Danela.
I'm answering number 1.
Kindly go on. Yes, Danela.
That's the difference between a burn and a scald.
Yes, Danela, go on.
A burn is an injury caused by dry heat, while a scald is an injury caused by wet heat.
Okay, Danela. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Danela. I still say for emphasis, Danela, I had some people around you. They must be trying to learn with you, and that is quite very, very, very good. Now, I still emphasize that you people, as you are giving your answers, make sure that you include the body or the skin. An injury on the body, an injury on the skin. And then your answer will be so clear. Yes, please. Another caller? Yes. Okay. Okay. Some other caller, please. Some other caller. And maybe to remind you, kindly try to distance yourself from the TV set so that we can clearly get to you. Yes, please. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
My name is Christy.
Your name is who?
Christy.
Oh, yes. From where?
From Namungona.
From Namungonda here. Okay, please go on. Which question are you answering?
Number 5.
Number 1. Yes, please go on.
I want to answer number 5.
Oh, number 5. Okay, yes.
It causes dehydration
Yes.
by absorbing
Yes.
water in the body
Woo!
and the skin.
Wow. I'm clapping you, my friend from Namungonda. That's very perfect. Just that is the response I wanted. That salt can lead to dehydration, of course, by absorbing more fluids from the body. Thank you very much. Yes, please. Some other caller? Some other caller? Oh, yes, please. Yes, okay. We still have an opportunity to try out this, and we can give it about 2-3 minutes. And
Hello?
Yes, please. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, my friend.
Morning.
A very good morning to you.
I'm still calling from Sweden.
From where?
I'm answering number 3.
Okay, please go on.
Mention the root causes of burn.
Yes, please.
Contact with dry
Yes.
contact.
Which well, okay. I don't know which question. Number 3, okay? Okay? Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Maybe you are just scoring for number 6. I can give it to you, and I say maybe give any 2 causes of burns and scalds. I can just leave it open like this, burns and...
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello?
Yes, please, my friend. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello. I can hear you.
My name is Danny.
is...
From Mukono.
Oh, Jasmine.
I'm actually studying at school.
Yes.
I'm answering number 5.
You are answering number 5. Yes, please go on.
Salt absorbs water
Mm.
that leads to dehydration.
Okay.
Now,
Oh, yes. Okay.
burn,
Okay.
2nd degree burn,
Yes.
3rd degree burn.
Yes, yes.
Number 2.
Yes, please,
Why
Jasmine.
is it not advisable to apply cow dung on a burnt area?
Okay.
Cow dung contains germs
Contains
that
down.
are harmful to the burnt area.
Okay.
That can cause more infections to the body.
Beautiful. Wow.
State the difference between a burn and a scald.
Yes, Jasmine.
A burn is caused by dry heat,
Yes.
while a scald is caused by wet heat.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, my good friend and my longtime friend Jasmine from Mukono. Only that for emphasis, I repeat, make sure that in your definition of a burn and a scald, you include the word skin or on the body. It will be quite perfect. And then there was some other person who answered number 3 and gave us courses. Yet the question was asking for classes where he wanted you to tell me the 1st and the 2nd and the 3rd degree burn. Yes, some other caller? Okay. So I think for today, it's been really... Yes. Yes. Okay, hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello, I can hear you.
My name is Steve.
Your name is who?
I'm answering number 3.
Okay, go on.
I'm answering number 3.
Please go. Yes. Hello.
I'm answering number 2.
Yes, please go on. Okay. So, okay. Yes.
1st degree burn.
1st degree burn. Yes.
2nd degree burn.
Yes.
2nd degree burn.
Yes. Okay. And the 3rd degree burn. Thank you very much, my good friend. And of course, we cannot go beyond that. In case you did not get an opportunity, like I've always told you, you still have a chance to go on. You can you respond to these questions by sending me your responses. I will be able to mark you. I've always given you that. This is 57866. You can go on submitting your responses. We shall continue to discuss more about that. And then, okay. So, and then we should be able to remember that most of this content, the same content, can as well be found on our app, which is PrimeLearn. So if you go to PrimeLearn, you will be able to learn the same content with ease, presented to you by other good teachers. Of course, today we have been together with some good friends here, and the friends I moved with, of course, I can't go minus, recognizing our good friend Babas Marion, who has been behind the camera alongside Brian Mutebi, and then you can talk about Andrew with your team. Andrew, you have done a significant role today by giving us those slides in the control room. I know you are always there with your Eric, Grat, of course, Mwaya, those all friends behind there. And this program shall always be given to you under our producer, Hector. Therefore, today I will thank each one of you who followed and gave us time. I cannot go beyond this. I will simply sign out, and indeed, I remain Edwin Twinomugisha, the science doctor. For now, respect. Wana mwana wetu mwambia na chiroho.